Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It depends you are in New York, you are in Europe, in Africa, or in Asia, because this is a side event that the European Large Families Confederation, with the support of many institutions, has organized on occasion of the 58th session of the Commission for Population and Development in the United Nations. You know, the topic is written just on the top of this screen, the central role of families in promoting public health and well-being. This is the general topic of the Commission, is practically the same, doing this public health and well-being for all at all ages. But here on this side event, we would like to be focused this public health and well-being on families, because most of the organizations we are working in the large family associations, but also many family organizations working with governments, have realized that the best way to work with individuals, you know, we have in many governments, before you had a lot of departments only for children, only for disabled people, only for women, only for elderly, but they realized that really the best approach to work and to prevent most of the problems in the future is to take in account always the family context of it. These individuals are working with family. The health, the well-being of families is the well-being of all society. And this is the reason we have invited many experts from civil society and also from university, from academia, to talk about this. And the first one is Professor Francesco Belletti. Professor Francesco Belletti is the director of the International Center for Family Studies in Milano. He has been also a professor of social work in the Catholic University of Milano. And he's an expert on these questions of family, sociology, public policies, also because he was, I think, from 2009 to 2015, the president of the Forum of Family Associations in Italy. Then you have the both sides, the side of the research and academia, and also from civil society. Then, Professor Belletti, the floor is for you now to talk about this, the family system, so how to talk about the family network as a support system. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Raul, and thank you, first of all, to ELFAC for inviting me to contribute to such a relevant webinar. The international scene can be really crucial for the public discourse on the family, promoting worldwide family-friendly policies and societies. So I'm very glad to be here. And my contribution wants to confirm that families play indeed a central role in the promoting public health and well-being, the general focus of this webinar, shortly considering some specific aspects of the interaction between family and society. So my contribution will be focused on these 6 aspects, which are the concept of family social capital, how family relations generate happiness or well-being for people, the relevance of the interaction between family and the community, and which kind of professional support fit best for supporting and promoting families. First of all, something about the family social capital. The sociological scientific literature about family social capital underlies and empirically confirms that family relationships are a powerful resource for individual well-being, but they are even more powerful when they open up to the outside, becoming generative of supportive social bonds in society, among families, and in the community. This is, in some way, we can call the added value of the family to the welfare of the community. Very briefly, family social capital is an indicator of strength and quality of the relationships in families. Among its members, which is named bonding social capital, and towards people outside the family, such as friends, neighborhoods, and community ties. And this is called bridging social capital. we had, in a recent research in Italy, this is our data from our national report on family in 2024, on a sample of more than 1,100 families, we analyzed how the two different social capitals, inner and outer, bonding or bridging, can interact. By analyzing the combination of the two dimensions, which is the cross table showed in the slide, it appears, first of all, that the internal cohesion is more relevant for families than the external. You can see 66.9% in red in the line on the bottom, which is the percentage of people who have a very high bonding family social capital, which means internal relationship very strong and very reliable. On the other part of the table, you can see a 48.1 of families who have a very high level of bridging family social capital, which means almost half of the families that we considered have a strong orientation toward the outer relationships, so that they deal with friends, they deal with neighborhood responsibilities, and networking with other people outside of the family, and so on. The real interesting part of the table is the corner in the below line on the right, which means that 39% of the whole sample, so 2 families out of 5, have both higher level of bonding and bridging social capital, which means that a good percentage of families are very interested in having good and strong internal family relations, but also in external family relations. And in other words, those families who are outer oriented, who have higher bridging family social couples, are almost every time with also higher levels of internal family social couple capital, which means, simply speaking, that families who are oriented to be good citizens who deal with the external world show also a good internal social capital. This is interesting because it shows that the family is also an education training camp for public citizenships. If you are responsible inside the family, usually you are also responsible in the outer society. And another interesting source of information, very different from the former, which was a national research, is the World Happiness Report, recently issued in December last year, and showed that the happiness index, which is rather complex to explain, but in this report this year, they dealt with the pro-social behaviors. The report documents a strong correlation between the strength of interpersonal relationships and the growth of personal happiness. Let's say being together is better for your own personal happiness. The vast majority of people who engage in caregiving roles and share parts of their life with others are happier, regardless to income, social class, geographical area, country, or life context. Conversely, people living alone typically report lower levels of well-being and happiness, and mainly due to lower relationship satisfaction, which means that money is less relevant than good relations for promoting personal happiness. And it means also that being alone is not so good rather than being together with other people. And one relevant aspect of the report, they devoted to it a full chapter of the report, having meals with other, the families where you had meals with other more frequently show a higher level of happiness index, which is for us in Italy is rather common because we do use having meals for staying together. So this is an aspect that we surely are expert. Sorry. And third, and more relevant, the family dimensions makes a big difference. The happiness index increases with the number of family members, starting from a minimum value for people living alone and growing until it reaches its maximum for families of 4 or 5 members. People in these families with more people enjoy abundant and satisfying relationships, while those living alone often experience lower level of happiness. In summary, family relationships are more protective and play an irreplaceable protective role for an individual's well-being, happiness. There is also relevant information about this, about larger families. And the report says that larger families show lower levels of happiness, but maybe this is due to more complex economic situation for many of them. And so, if we consider these concentric circles models, we can, just to make me understand, it takes a village to bring up a family. Paraphrasing a well-known African proverb, loneliness is one of the hardest challenges for individuals and for families. So, in these rather simplified models, every person and every family can explore what we can call the outer world, from the individual well-being through family relations to in a family with an open boundaries, in family associations, and in networking association. So if you go from the inner circle to the outer one, you can look for better support, for more alliance, and for new resources in coping with the family life challenges. If you remain in your inner circle, your life will be much poorer, and the resources to face the unavoidable challenges of the life will be very weak without any external relation. And in this sense, obviously, families have to face challenges that not always they can face alone. So they need some supporting systems. They can need to ask for help, for some economic support from social work and so on. But there are some features that are necessary for supporting families. And these 3 main attitudes from the supporting systems are, in my view, very relevant. First of all, you need to listen family's voice rather than thinking that your analysis as a service system is the best solution for them. You have to help families together with families, not on behalf of the families themselves. Even if they are weak and if are in distress, you have to listen carefully to the needs of the families, to the map of the priorities of the families, and build together with them the necessary help. And the way in which you can help families is also in orienteering them into a network of resources in the community. Sometimes families do not know where services are, how services can be received, and the procedures and so on. So it is very important not having an attitude of direct problem solving, but accompanying families to look for the appropriate help. And the third and final, more relevant attitude is that we need a family empowerment attitude, which means looking for the capabilities, looking for the resources of the families, rather than considering the families only from the deficit model point of view. You need to know where the family has some need, but you especially need to know better how families can be their own helpers. So the final point of this slide is that we need social services and support and social support able to raise and to promote family responsibility and family capabilities. And when families need professional support from a family center, from counseling services, from economic support, we need to have a more favorable power balance for families, which means that they need to have still voice. And in some paradoxical way, we need stronger and better qualified social workers and services if they have to promote families' capabilities, because it is easier to give some standardized service to the families rather than to accompany them in a tailor-made project of support. And sorry for the last. And we also need to focus on the resources rather than on the deficit and the weakness. And so my last reflection, obviously it is not a systematic presentation, but I wanted just to put some lights on different aspects. And we need two different responsibilities. We need families who are more aware of their own responsibilities. We have to call families to be aware of their social responsibility. So strengthen their internal relations, open boundaries to other people, a positive interaction with the external world without being afraid of what is going on outside, and trying to set alliances, possibly with other families, and the awareness of being a resource for building the common good, not only their own self-interest, but the general good. And societies need to have a positive attitude toward families, supporting their social relevance, recognizing and protecting and promoting the social contribution of families to society with a tailor-made strategy if you are dealing with a single specific families. So, just to close my reflection, a final cultural challenge, which is specially performed by family association, is connecting families against the individualism and isolation of the contemporary society. So we need families, more families together for making better your own family life and for making society more family friendly. Thank you.
Sorry, I was unmuted. Then I was speaking with nobody. Then now I try to repeat again what I was saying. I was saying that thank you very much to Professor Belletti. I was reading a few days ago very interesting news about teenagers and the problems of mental health. And there were an expert saying that the problems of mental health is very connected in teenagers with loneliness now. And she was giving a very cheap receipt, which is eating family together every day. Eating family together every day has not cost for governments, but it's a very good solution to break this feeling to be alone of the teenagers with the support of the family. Then we have been listening from academia with Professor Belletti, and we are going now to a testimonial, very nice testimonial of how a family can change the life of a place and to create a more healthy environment for everybody. We go with Irina Granțulea. Irina Granțulea is the president of the Large Families Association of Romania, and she can introduce to us a family with a very interesting story. And they were the winners of the European Large Family of the Year Award 2024. Thank you, Irina, to be here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Raul. As it is an online meeting, we have a small technical problem. Maybe you can solve it in a little bit time, because the Mimler family cannot connect to this meeting. So Raul, I sent to you the phone number to connect with them. So it's a true honor to be here today to represent the Romanian Association of Large Families, ASFANU, as a mother of 3 children and the president of the association. I represent about 400,000 families with 3 or more children. And if we speak about ELFAC, we have more families in Europe. We have around 6 million large families, so we are quite a big number. And we are families that not only raise children, but we bring hope, resilience, and we contribute to the good of community, despite the hard things that appears in our lives, and sometimes with very little recognition. That's why I'm really grateful for this event, because we should talk more about families, more about large families, because large families, they face real changes. This means in work balance, in responsibilities, in accessing, let's say, policies adapted to their needs. And we have to take into consideration that large families also bring a lot to society. And not only the demographic renewal, but the children from large families, they bring social cohesion and they contribute to communities. So my association from Romania, as many others, we work with parents from large families, many of them volunteers, and we want to make everybody understand that a large family is something that all the society should value and appreciate, and family policies should be directed to large families. So today I'm very honored to present family from Romania, 9 children family from Romania, the Mimler family. They've been honored this year with the European Award of Large Family of the Year. So first of all, I would like to introduce you with their story. You will see a short movie about them, and then we'll talk a little bit. Hope it's going to be good with the connection. So Raul, if you please can play the video.
Departe de aglomerația urbană, într-un colț de rai din comuna Râmeți din Munții Apuseni, o familie cu 9 copii ne dă o lecție de trai autentic. Cei mici n-au tablete, dar au priveliști de bază. N-au gadgeturi, dar își petrec timpul în vârf de munte, înconjurați de natură, de aer curat, de animale și de jocurile de mult uitate ale copilăriei. Părinții lor, Gabriel și Elizabeth, au locuit în Austria o lungă perioadă de timp, însă de 2 ani au ales să revină pe meleagurile natale ale lui Gabriel pentru a le oferi copilor o creștere armonioasă.
Povestea familiei începe în urmă cu 20 de ani, atunci când Gabriel a decis să se mute în Austria. Acolo și-a cunoscut soția și tot acolo s-au născut și primii 7 copii. Încă de la venirea pe lumea primului, viața lor și-a schimbat parcursul.
La început am locuit în Viena, perioadă destul de lungă, eu m-am cunoscut cu soția, după aia a venit Felix pe lume, primul copil, și înainte să împlinească un an, am decis că trebuie să ne mutăm din Viena, pentru că m-am gândit că nu este un mediu neapărat armonios pentru un copil să crească într-o capitală. Și ne-am mutat la sat, într-un sătuc spre granița cu Cehia.
Atmosfera în familia lor e mereu caldă și primitoare. Cei 9 copii, Felix, Diana, Michael, Johannes, Dorotea, Dimitria, Ana, Efrem și Rafaela au învățat să fie o echipă. Au grijă unii de alții, se joacă împreună sau își ajută părinții la treburile de zi cu zi.
N-are timp pentru televizoare sau Da. Felix are un mic telefon pentru școală, fără internet. Da, are probleme la școală, se sună pe mame și tate. Și, da, copii mai mult timp joace afară.
Le place în România și în locul pe care părinții l-au ales pentru ei să le fie acasă. Gabriel și Elizabeth au mereu grijă să le ocupe timpul în așa fel încât să nu simtă nevoia tabletelor sau a telefoanelor mobile.
Dacă nu stau așa de mult la calculator sau cu jocuri sau cu așa, au mai mult timp pentru ei înșiși.
Cei mai mari, Felix și Diana, studiază vioară și pian. În fiecare sâmbătă, Gabriel îi duce la Cluj-Napoca pentru lecții. Diana spune că pentru ea învățatul e o joacă.
Am mai multe piese preferate. Este Bala de Polelin, Comtin din Alfred, dacă zic bine, și Fiorelis.
Și a fost greu să înveți? De cât timp când stai la pian?
De 7 ani jumătate și de unul mi-e greu la început, dar când intru în piesa asta, nu mi-e greu.
Acum, familia Mimler vrea să ducă mai departe ceea ce au descoperit prin copiii lor, că viitorul nostru este la fel de bun precum sunt copiii noștri.
Aici vor fi tabere pentru copii, pe platourile alea vom face căsuțe Earth House, Hobbit, tipi, iurte, deci o lume a copiilor în care se poate să se scufunde într-o lume de basm și aici vor fi tot felul de activități. Aici sus în pădure va fi un parc creștin, așa cu scene din Noul Testament.
Au înființat o asociație prin care vor să creeze tabere pentru copii în natură, prin care aceștia să învețe ce înseamnă o comunitate unită și că se poate să fii fericit și fără accesul permanent la tehnologie.
So happy that we are together now. So welcome.
Hi, Irina. Hello from Romania, from the snowy mountains of Apuseni. So sorry for the connection. We are on my phone. We tried to connect with our PC, but due to security issues, we didn't succeed. But anyway, we are here. Thank you for your invitation. Thank you and ELFAC and Raul for organizing this nice event and organizing the yearly award of the large family of the year. Thank you. I'm looking forward. Enjoy the event. This is my family.
Nice to see you all. Hello. Hello. So we are happy that you are all together here, and we want to find out more about your family. And I want to ask you why you choose to live in a small community after you return in Romania. What were you looking for?
Yeah, this is a good question. We are looking for alternative ways of living, more sustainable, like to value the important things in life. And I realized that a life according to nature, in harmony, it's a healthy way of life for our children. Before I was a parent, I didn't realize how important it is for developing of the children to be raised in an atmosphere which is natural, surrounded by mountains, by animals, to have the freedom to make also stupid things, to play around, to fool around, and to test their borders. So this was the main argument for moving to a small community, to be more focused on ourselves than on the outward life, society. It's also the main
Congratulations. This, I think it's a great choice. And I think that the children are very happy with the nature and the environment. And well, I know that you live in a small community, and I'm interested how is everything in there? How you work with the community? What you want to do for the community? How the children are integrated in such a small community?
Yeah, it's a small community. This place is called Remeț, and the surface of Remeț is almost as big as Bucharest, but there in such a big, huge zone are living almost 400 persons. So everyone knows everyone is familiar with oneself, with the others, with the neighbors. So when we came here, it was like for the neighbors and for people around, it was like we are bringing hope. They're thinking, I heard a lot of times, this is a commonplace, the people are telling us, when I was a small child, I used to play with other children in this area, but there are no children anymore. Like, my wife gave birth to 2 children in this place, so the people are very surprised and happy that we are here. We are bringing hope, concrete, like on like something real. The school was about to close before we came, so now 7 of our children are going to this small village school, and everyone is happy because we are, so to say, a force here. And with the project we initiated, like our youth camps and the stuff interconnected and related to our project, we are hoping to develop the area more and more to be able to attract people, to create new job opportunities for young people, and why not to be a model for young families, to show an alternative way of life. Yeah, that's some aspects of our influence in this area, in the community. Also bounding communities and members and stuff like this. We are thinking in the monastery, and we are well integrated in this small structure. Like it's like a family, this village structure.
Yeah, congratulations. You have an amazing plan, and I think it will be very good for all the families to come there and feel the atmosphere. And I know that in a large family, everybody helps for things to be done in a proper way. So how is the work in your family, and what you which would be your message for families with less children, or maybe without children? Which is the joy of a large family?
The joy of the large family. There are so many joys that I cannot point a single one. Like, there are many challenges in a big family, but the challenges are an opportunity to grow and to find together solutions to the challenges of life, because the big families are not the only families with with challenges. Also, the small families have problems which have to be solved. But in big families, like the force is like something there are so many moments in crisis, in situation where you don't know how to solve a problem. So, but this force, the community, step forward and take care for one another, and in this atmosphere, new solutions appear, solutions you didn't dreamed of before. So it's a way of life. That's the joy of serving each other, supporting each other, finding new way to interact with one another, healthy way. like to break down the hierarchy and to look how is reciprocity applicable in the work of the family members. In such a way, in one way, the family is actually the backbone of the society. Like it's a structure, it's a community where the members are related to one another and are serving one another. And this model they are taking with them when they are living this small community, and they will influence the whole world, the communities we are in. Like we are an embassy for trying to work things out in the family. Like, and my message for young families is don't be scared of children. The children are angels. They are happiness. They are joy. They are well-being. They are everything. Don't be scared. Make children, because it's hard with 1, 2 children, but it's easier with more children. This is my message.
Thank you very much. You are so beautiful, and I
Thank
would
you.
like
Thank you. Welcome in our home, and thank you for inviting us to share our experience with you. And it's a good opportunity for us to share our values. Thank you, Rina. Thank you, Raul. And
thank you very much. And we will close with the big message from large families for everybody to value the family, because it's the most important pillar of the society. Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Mulțumesc mult, for this wonderful family from Romania. It's a good contrast between the explanation of Professor Belletti, very interesting, but also the real life of a family changing the environment they are living and the people where they are living. Thank you very much. And now you know that logically we know that we need to introduce this family lens in all public policies to be more effective. But sometimes we missed this family dimension in the international organizations and public policies. Then to know how to work this, to do this advocacy in international organizations, we have invited 2 mothers. One is from Hungary, the other one is from Sweden. Judit Regős is president of the Parents' House Public Benefit Foundation in Hungary, co-founder with Madeleine Wallin, with us also from Sweden, co-founder of the Families for Families Group Europe. It's a very new association founded to do this work of advocacy in the international organization. She's a mother of 4 children. And Madeleine is the new president of Haro. Haro is the correspondent association in the European Large Families Confederation for Sweden, but also they work for the well-being of families, focus also in these persons of the family staying at home, raising children and taking care of their family. Then the floor is used to talk about how to introduce this family lens in the international organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much. Should I start, Judith?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for inviting me to this important event. And I am so inspired by the family who spoke before. I also want to have a hobbit house. And it's families like yours that inspires me to work for families in the world, actually. So my name is Madeleine Wallin, and I come from Sweden. I'm a mother of 5 and a lifelong advocate for families, especially when it comes to recognizing the needs of children and the value of motherhood. In fact, I often call myself a motherhood activist. So for over 25 years, I've been campaigning for family issues, and currently I serve as the president in the Swedish organization Haro since this Saturday, actually. Our mission is to support parents and ensure that they have the real possibility to care for their own children during the most formative years of life and as long as they need to. And the needs of the children are always in focus for us. And I also serve as Secretary General of ELFAC, which is the European Federation of Parents and Carers at Home. We work across Europe to advocate for the recognition of unpaid work, unpaid care work especially, most often carried out by women. And also we work for policy change that respects and supports the essential contribution to society. So recently, Parents House Public Benefit Foundation from Hungary, with Judit here, and the Swedish organization Haro, we founded For Families Group Europe, which is a network created to unite family organizations across Europe and amplify our collective voice. So why did we create it? We saw a clear need, a need for a stronger collaboration among family supporting organizations, and also to raise awareness of the vital role that families play in every part of society. Families are where values are taught, where identity forms, and where love and resilience begin. And my partner Judith, she will share more about this initiative later. So in 1995, the World Summit for Social Development in Copenhagen affirmed that the family is the basic unit of society. It emphasized that strong families are key to social development and that their rights, responsibilities, and capacities must be supported. Families are where our first relationships are built. They are places of belonging and love, but they can also be places of pain and where trauma is unintentionally passed down. If we want healthier societies, we must support families. We must help individuals heal and break the cycle. We hear stories from parents. We come from we have experiences of our own, and that's what led us to organize ourselves. And these families who talk to us, they have concerns about children's unmet needs and warnings that are too often ignored. And these voices from families and from parents, they matter. So people from all backgrounds are saying the same thing. Families matter, and no society can be strong without them. A truly progressive society prioritizes well-being. It understands children's needs and the extraordinary development that happens in the earliest years of life, especially the brain development. And also, we must talk about motherhood. Why is the word mother so often missing in public dialogue? Motherhood is powerful, a transformative experience. Not every woman becomes a mother, but everyone has one. And yet, mothers are too often invisible in our policies and discussions. Let us remember Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. So what does this mean in practice? It means that supporting mothers so that they can meet their children's needs. It means respect, time, and trust. And yes, we must talk about fatherhood too, because fathers matter. Their love, their presence, their care. These are not optional extras. Children benefit from both parents, so let's empower men to step fully into their roles as fathers. The pediatrician Donald Winnicott once said, there is no such thing as a baby. there is a baby and someone. No child exists in isolation. So a baby needs care to survive, to feel safe, to grow. And during the early years, brain development is at its peak. And that's why early family support, education, and well-designed policies matter so much. Across Europe, family support looks very different from country to country. And all too often, policies shift with political winds. But families cannot live in uncertainty. They need predictability and trust. That's why we want to create a European space for sharing good practices, a space for collaboration and learning beyond borders. And it's not a coincidence that it's a Swedish and a Hungarian organization that started the collaboration. One country calls themselves family friendly, while the other sometimes mistrusts families and has instead created quite a strong state. And childhood has become institutionalized, and the word family is rarely used. But still, families have the same needs wherever they come from. So above all, we ask for trust. Trust in families, trust in parents, and trust that they are doing their best, and that with the right support, they can raise thriving children. So let us bring forward our voices, our stories, and our shared wisdom. Because families are not just private matters, they are the very fabric of society, and they deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Madeleine. And it was a very nice verse that you've been talking about our mission. And I'm very thankful to you that you joined and established with us this new established FFGE for Family Groups Europe. And let you introduce a little bit more about our core values, what we are doing, what is our common European roots, because this is very important for us that promote our European and roots in global representation. FFGE is rooted in the shared cultural and historical heritage of Europe. We have our roots like ancient Greek democracy, thought as participation and public responsibility. Roman law provided the foundations of justice and family protection. The Judeo-Christian tradition emphasized human dignity, care for the vulnerable, and intergenerational responsibility. The Enlightenment gave rise to values like education, liberty, and civic environment. These values shape how we see the family, not as a private issue alone, but as a moral and social cornerstone. We proudly represent these values at the UN and other international forums with the aim of building a world where family means dignity, care, and solidarity. One of the FFGE's most important missions is to gather and present successful family-focused models internationally, because what works in one community can inspire many others. An example, for example, the Parent House program in Hungary. It provides inclusive family spaces, strengthens parenting skills, offers mental and emotional support, and fosters social connection and trust among families. In addition, Hungary offers several strong family policy practices, including over 30 active family support measures. We have growing network on family daycare centers, a unique nationwide health visitor system, and strong support for rural communities. These examples directly support SDGs 3, good health and well-being, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 10, reduced inequalities. Families cannot thrive in isolation. Community is the emotional safety net around them, offering a sense of belonging, shared experience, and mutual care. FFGE believes that families must be supported through community, through neighborhood initiatives, civil society programs, and public spaces where people can meet, talk, and trust one another. This is how we build a caring society where families are not left to struggle alone, but are surrounded by human connection and shared responsibility. The mission of the For Family Group Europe is clear: to support and strengthen families mentally, emotionally, socially, and institutionally, to represent shared European values, democracy, dignity, solidarity on the global stage, to share and promote successful models, and to ensure that families are not left out of global conversations. Because when families are safe, connected, and valued, they become a source of lifelong strength for individuals and for the society. We warmly welcome any European civil society organization to join our alliance if they hold UN ECOSOC consultative status and share our core values and goals. By joining FFGE, your organization will gain greater visibility on the international stage, coordinated representation, and unfilled voice and unified voice in shaping family-centered policies and values at the global level. Thank you very much, and see you in the FFGE.
Thank you very much, Judith and Madeleine, and thank you for all the work you are doing. Of course, you can count of our organization and many other family organizations interested to be in United Nations to introduce this family lens in all the activity to improve and to get better the world we are living. And thank you very much. And now we are going to listen a very interesting speech of Dr. Gudrun Kugler. Gudrun Kugler serves as a member of the Austrian Parliament, is a speaker for human rights and displaced persons for the Austrian People's Party. She's the special representative for demographic change and security, as well as vice president of the Parliamentary Assembly of OSCE. And she has a PhD in law, one master's degree in women's studies, and one in theological studies. She's the founder of the Observatory on Intolerance Against Christians in Europe, based in Vienna. And previously, she was the first director of World Youth Alliance Europe in Brussels and member of Vienna's regional parliament. She knows perfectly how NGOs works, promoting family rights, and also how politicians works. Then, very interesting point of view of Dr. Kugler. Thank you very much to be here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Raul. It's so great to be here, and hello to everybody. And I would just like to say a big thank you and congratulations to the European Large Families Confederation for such a timely topic and for engaging with the UN and all the people who are interested. And I also have to say, Raul, you prepared this so well. I just want to say I'm speaking almost every day somewhere, but you have done extremely well in making sure that the speakers know what's going on. So many thanks. I am very happy to hear about what the United Nations are working on and how you contribute to it, because for me, as the Vice President of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly and Special Representative of Demographics, I just think it is very necessary that at the United Nations levels and the OSCE level, we can work together closely. And obviously, we see that we work on very similar topics. I want to thank all my previous speakers. I have to say that I very much share the things that were said. I'm a mom of 4, and I would have had, I think, many more children had it not been for my very intense work. But I'm so glad that I can have 4 children and do the things I do, and I can see how independent my children have become. They are between 11 and 19 years old. So I have them all at home. It's beautiful. There's lots of movement and lots of talking. But I also see that they have become very strong young people and that they're very independent and that they support my work and they are happy about it and they share and they want to know what I'm doing and they know so much about politics. It's just fun to discuss with them. So we will use our time very well. I hope that you will find it helpful. I have published 2 months ago this report. This is an OSCE Parliamentary Assembly report on demographic change in the OSCE region. The region covers North America, Western Europe, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia. And we can see not so much in Central Asia, but in all the other countries that this is happening with our demographics. And I have summarized the problem on 22 pages. So it's not so much to read. And I really ask also, maybe Raul, you could do this, to send a link to everybody, and I can maybe later put it in the chat that people can download this and use this as a tool. And I am first speaking about the numbers. I will just say a few things about this, then about the consequences, and thirdly, about what could be a political solution. And as we have already heard today, the family is a very important aspect of a solution. But please walk with me. Let's first look at the numbers. Most of our countries have a very strong decline in birth rates. And we don't see it yet because most of our countries have migration, so we don't see, us becoming empty or people not anymore, or companies not finding any workers anymore. But there is a time bomb that we can see. So the numbers are, for example, 1.3 in Austria, 1.4, 1.5. Some countries are very lucky, have 1.6. France is better off. But none of these countries make it to 2.1, which is the number of reproduction, which would mean that the population is not shrinking without migration. And even in Hungary, and I want to thank, what we've heard about Hungary, and we are neighbors, and I know a lot what Hungary is doing, and it's great. But even in Hungary, the birth rate is 1.5 or even lower, and they did not manage to move the birth rate up to 2.1 or above that. And I want you to understand that there were 2 demographic transitions that caused the problem we are seeing today. The first demographic transition was in the beginning of the last century. And that is 120 years ago. That was the time when families stopped having 5 or 6 children and they went down to having only 2 or 3. And that number has stayed rather stable. And it's still, the families who have children, they have 2 or 3 children. And then what has changed in the second demographic transition, beginning in the 70s, is that many, many more people remained childless. So that means in Italy, for example, in 1970, 1 of 30 people had no children. Today, it is 7 or 8 of 30 people who do not have children. So on the one hand, you have fewer children, but that's 120 years ago when it started, and that remained stable. And suddenly you have so many people not having any children anymore. So the question is not, why do people have so few children? That's an old question. The question is, why do so few people have children, right? And so it's very important for us to look into this. And there is a certain feeling of individualization. People, they think of themselves as one and not as a family. The reasons to have children have become fewer, right? Many years ago, you said, oh, but I want to have somebody to take care of me when I'm old. Oh, I want to pass on my company. I want to pass on my farmhouse. I want to pass on the name. None of these reasons really exist anymore. So then what stays is that a child costs a lot of money, costs me my independence and my happy, fun party life, and so on. And then education levels, thankfully, have gone up. So the result is that people just say, nah, I don't know, maybe I'll have children later. And what happens? We know from statistics that when you have children later, there is a high likelihood that you might not have children anymore at all. So you can look at it like this. The statistics say all over Europe, very similar. When you do not have children when you're 30, the likelihood that you will remain childless is by 50%. And so immediately we hear, oh, when people say, oh, I'll have children later, it is important to tell them that it is not so easy to have children when you're later. It works for some, it doesn't work for all, and that it might be better to think about not to say, okay, first I'll have my education, and then I start my career, and then I look for somebody, and then I'm 40, or let's say I'm 35, and then I might think about having a child. And then for not everybody it works, right? So that's a message that I think we need to communicate. So now please think of this as my last example for numbers. If we have a birth rate of 1.3, and then it means that in every generation, the population will decrease by a third, right? So you have 4 grandparents that then have 2.5 children, and then these 2.5 children will have 1.5 children. And so in 2 generations, we go even further down in significant numbers, and this is happening right now. In France, for example, today there are more people alive that were born in 1946 than that were born in 2023, right? Even though, 1946 is really long ago, not everybody is still alive, but it's more people than those who were born now. And we see this virtually in every Western country. So what are the consequences of this? Obviously, if there's no children or so few children, you will have a different social structure. You have many old people, and that changes the way we live together. And, it becomes a downward spiral, because if young people don't see babies, they start to be very insecure of what to do with the baby if they had one. And in Japan, I just moderated a panel with a young woman on the panel who said she runs an NGO that helps young Japanese people to touch a baby and to feel and see what a baby needs, so that they will not be afraid to have a baby on their own. So the fewer babies people see, the fewer babies people want to have. So it changes our social structure. A result is also that people will be lonely, because, if 2 people have 1 child and the child has a good job in America and then they get a divorce, which is also very frequent, they are completely alone. Who takes care of them? But then if we are becoming fewer and fewer, we also have changes to infrastructure, because there will be rural areas that will just die out. And, in Italy today, in some areas, if you accept to take over a house, they will actually give you 100,000 euro to take it, because nobody wants it and they don't want to have ghost towns. Eastern Germany, rural areas, the same. And we can see that in some Austrian areas, we already see a beginning trend. Then what happens to our labor force? If it becomes difficult to find people who can work for your company, some people say, oh, migration is the solution. But, we do have some issues that are problematic with regard to migration. I will tell you, Austria has lots of migration coming from Eastern Europe. These are great people, and they are very similar in our culture, and they learn very quickly our language. We are very happy about this. But it's not good for the Eastern European countries that these people leave behind. We call it brain drain, right? So Croatia, Austria, and Germany take their academics because they earn more. And then these people are no longer there to build up their own country. Moldova, if you overstate, you could say there are hardly any adults left, because it's the children and the grandparents raising the children, and the middle generation is gone in Western Europe. This is just not good for Moldova. So we introduced the term brain circulation, say, okay, Croatian academics come to Austria, and then you go back home after a few years, and you bring all the expertise you have gained. That's really nice. But then the problem, persists. With migration from countries further away, we have other problems. We have an integration problem. People have values that are often, not always, but often very far away from our values. It's hard for us to find ways of living together. It's a problem of language acquisition. It's a problem of lower levels of education. So what happens? Migrants create a new blue-collar class of people who do cheap jobs. But that's something we left behind, this class segregation many decades ago, and we don't want to come back to it. And these migrants will get older and they also need to be cared for. So we need, again, more migrants to do it. So it's a perpetuum that is not a real solution. We have challenges in this demographic clash, demographic decline with regard to financing old people and retired people. We have a problem with regard to keeping up our services in the health sector. I can give you an example. We have numbers from Spain where we see that 80% of all the money that is spent on health is spent on the 17% of retired people, right? So somebody has to pay for this. And we need workers in the health sector, people who actually take care of people, and we just don't have them. So all of this puts a big strain on state finances and could throw our countries into poverty. We don't want that. So what do we do? And now here I come to solutions. And we have talked a lot about the family today. And I think the family is absolutely key for the question of what is the solution. So we need family-friendly measures in each country. Austria has done great things. Hungary has done great things. Austria has received an award of the European Union for being super family-friendly. We have introduced a law recently, and also with my cooperation in Parliament, that would allow parents to tax deduct their children as if they had a company and were having an expense for the company. This is absolutely great, makes a big difference for families, especially when they have more children. But none of these measures have brought our countries into a positive population development. So what is the answer? I've talked to many experts about it, and all say the same. The answer is that all the elites in our countries understand how important the family is and how important it is to support the family. And then they all communicate one thing, namely that it is great to be a parent and that it is beautiful to have a child, and that society commends everyone who has children, and that society will bow in front of those who raise children, because it's not easy and it's so necessary for all of us. Recognition of parenthood and recognition of having children, so that it becomes fashionable. And if we don't do this, we will have problems we cannot solve, right? So in our public debate, we always say, oh no, why do you have so many children? That should be of the past. Today, what we have to say, whoa, look at you. You are an example for all of us. In addition to this, what our countries and our governments need to do, invest into active aging, create sustaining old age and health infrastructure. So we have to talk about retirement age. We have to talk about keeping people longer in the workforce, making sure people are healthier in old age. Longevity, this is called. Some countries are doing really well. The Scandinavian countries, people have 5 years longer healthy age. Well, that would be something we could maybe look into and say, oh, is there something we can copy? We have to tackle loneliness, not just the states, but all of us. The large family programs should add, a little section and say, oh, how do we help old people who are alone, and how can they help the families? Connect old age and young children family life. Maybe that would be very helpful. And at one point, we really have to discuss how to accompany the depopulation process in rural areas that we cannot uphold. That's very sad to say, but on the long run, we just cannot keep all the infrastructure up for two families that live far away, where there were thousands of families, but they are no longer there. They are now gone or in the cities. So we have to think of how do we deal with this as politicians. We have to maybe designate areas that we will keep and designate areas that we will not keep, and then help people, to be accommodated and find a good way of finding, in a way, a new home in an area where we are able to keep infrastructure up. Now, all of this, having said all of this, we need awareness, and we need to together bow to families for having children instead of downplaying them. That will be the solution. And I want to thank Raul Sanchez and all of you and the United Nations for taking up these issues. And I want to thank the European Large Families Confederation for their work, because this is really one of the most necessary things for our times. You're doing it really well. So many thanks for this. And thank you all for your very kind attention.
Thank you very much for your interesting intervention. Really, you have touched a point that it's very important. And now, you know, it's not easy, as you said, to find good solutions, effective solutions. But one of the things to do is to create a family-friendly environment in all areas of society. And one important place to do it is municipalities, the local territories, to be attractive for families that they maybe would like to have more children or to have children or to start a family. And this way, Regina Maroncelli is not only Vice President of the European Large Families Confederation, but also the coordinator of a very interesting initiative, which is the European Network of Family-Friendly Municipalities, an initiative to share best practices, good practices between municipalities to create these attractive territories for families. Then maybe you can talk to us about some of these practices to promote the topic of this event, the public health and well-being. Thank you, Regina. Yes, we are not hearing you now. I don't know if you are. Yes, now. Perfect.
Okay, thank you, Raul. Thank you to the previous speakers, for those listening to us. It's a great honor to have the opportunity to talk about this issue that is really game changer, I think. I would like to introduce you this picture because this is the picture of a family who started a dream. They went for a large family association assembly in a place in Italy called Trentino, where they found services for children, and everything was really tailor-made for families. So they inquired, they wanted to know more, and they realized that in Trentino there was this kind of a certification process going on for quite a long time. They were certificating family-friendly places, municipalities, districts, offices, restaurants, hotels, and so. They fell in love with this idea because they thought that it was the solution, a good place where to live. But they live in a beautiful area in Italy, in Sardinia, on the sea, and they couldn't leave the sea. So they decided to move try to move all the good things they learned in Trentino, which is in the mountains, and try to develop the same process and family friendliness in Alghero. They succeeded with the help of the Alghero community and institutions, and this is how the family-friendly network, the Italian one first, was born, and then also the European family-friendly network for municipalities. So let's say it's a nice story that we like to tell because it's a true story of success. ELFAC, the European Large Family Confederation, that is 20 years old now, going to our 21st birthday, soon understood how powerful this process could be and how it could respond to the needs of families. Because it was a way, as we have heard before, that to put in the focus of the policies of a whole community the interest of families and the family well-being. So soon the European Network of Family-Friendly Municipalities became the biggest project of our confederation. The project was born in 2018 with a mission to create a family-friendly environment at a local level first, and then going upwards, bottom down, upwards, and try to create a family-friendly Europe. So of course, we are working on it. The focus of the network is the well-being of families. So we ask municipalities to be concerned on that, on how they can live better. We realized that this network is really very on the line, according to the line of the SDGs, because of course it meets all the criteria to approach number 3, good health and well-being, because it focused on the well-being of families and all the components from the childhood to old people. But of course, when you create a supportive environment, you fight poverty, you fight hunger, you deal with new solutions in energy, you deal with justice, and of course with gender equality. You also build a proper, a cleaner environment, a more sustainable, where decent work is given and education is valued, where it is important, water sanitation can be treated rightly, because all these aspects of the SDGs have to do with the quality of life of families and their well-being. Talking about health and well-being in a family-friendly city, we soon asked each other what means to be friendly or unfriendly, and what makes a place where we live, a municipality, a good place to live and to raise children. Of course, what we don't like is what is difficult for a family with children to cope is pollution, is noise, is traffic, is an unsafety, health, the lack of health systems, the difficulties to find paths that are apt for children. These not welcoming attitude against children. I show you here a label where it is forbidden to play. It is a real picture taken in a car park. I mean, cars are almost so more important than children. In a friendly environment, what we find is a good environment, a clean one, a safe one, with a sweet mobility, cycle path, parks, a place where to meet, meeting points, social opportunities, good, healthy diet, which means also that the people have time to cook for themselves, to stay at home, to have dinner together, and so on. So all these makes up a friendly atmosphere, a friendly city, a friendly community. And if they are friendly, they are welcoming, attractive, and it's a good place to live or to start a life with the children. As I said, the network is the biggest project we have at the European level with ELFAC. We were lucky because in very few years and the COVID in between, we managed anyway to reach out a lot of municipalities. Now we can count on 160 cities from 10 different countries. You have here some samples. We have Athens, Greece, Bacau, Romania. We have Valencia from Spain, Trento, of course, from Italy, Riga, a new city we are very proud of too. So from Spain, Portugal to Greece up to Latvia, this is a process that is growing because I think also it's a solution for municipalities which are facing depopulation problems, the kind of identity problem. So why should a municipality, or on what should a municipality work? What is better than the well-being of its inhabitants? And what is better than the well-being of those inhabitants that will secure the future of the city? So I would like to talk about some of the good practice you can see on our web site. These are some of those that are more concerning health and well-being, because of course a family-friendly municipality means a lot of things. A family is a lot of things, a lot of different components, from the children to adults and young people, the elderly, and so on. It is the family lens Raul has talked about, is the way to look at people, not only as a target individual, but as a community, and to target solutions and problems to that community. Here, just a few samples I think are quite interesting. We have from a municipality in Spain, a place where children with parents with children with cognitive disabilities can stay together and read and have good time, quality time together. We have a baby pit stop in Perugia, in Italy. It's a place, a very simple place with a very little cost, where you can change napkins, feed your child, breastfeed if you want, or just relax for a while. And these places are sometimes next to a shopping center or by the municipality. So it doesn't take a lot for a municipality to do such a thing, but it is a way to show how a municipality can close to the needs of families, of the mothers, of the child, of the fathers who might be with the need of changing diapers. Another nice best practice I would like to share is this one place in Sardinia, in Italy. They have a professional social service center where they provide social education and services for all ages. The Budapest district, 18th district, organizes summer camps for their inhabitants, for their children, and that is a very good thing because they live in the city, but they also need to live outdoor and enjoy the summer. And this is a very good solution also for the municipality to retrain their inhabitants, because of course it's more difficult in many big cities to raise children and to have healthy children. So if a municipality offer these kind of services, they can be attracted and convinced to remain there and not to move maybe in the country outside the city. Then I would like to show another example in Hungary. This is a mentor center for the baby, premature babies and their families, and another place in Portugal with different ages, where different ages meet and stay together for the well-being of all, exchanging. So it's very good, the fact that we don't divide it, we don't divide by ages people or by sexes or whatever, but we try to form a community because, as we have heard and learned also today, this is what makes a better place to live. Yes. And these are some of them.
Yes,
okay. I think this is enough. I just want to say a couple other things, that not only municipalities are concerned in this adventure of becoming family friendly. With our last meeting in Krakow, we decided for a step forward and to work with companies that are working for the well-being of their family employees. And that's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Regina. It's very interesting how this network started with municipalities, but now is starting to integrate companies and other institutions of the city to work together to do this territory more family friendly. Then thank you very much for this interesting initiative. And I would like now to give the floor to Renata Kaczmarska. Renata Kaczmarska, we knew her in the years ago starting to be in United Nations, and we were very happy to know that there is an officer of United Nations working in the focal point of family, trying to introduce this family lens in the objectives of the 2030 agenda. And this is the topic we have invited Mrs. Kaczmarska to talk about today, about this, the family, which is the role of the family regarding these objectives of United Nations. Then thank you very much to be with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Raul. I am very happy to see some colleagues and good friends among the speakers today. And I will try to be brief because I think we are a bit short of time, correct? We are a bit lagging behind.
Yes, but we can have 5 minutes more.
Okay. So I was asked to speak about the central role of families in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, but also I thought it would be good to talk about family-friendly policies, because without them, we cannot advance the Agenda for Sustainable Development. So as you know, the Agenda for Development is a blueprint for overall development efforts. Families are active stakeholders and beneficiaries of the agenda. And of course, effective family-oriented policies and programs are critical for the achievement of many sustainable development goals, such as poverty and hunger reduction, health and well-being, education, and gender equality. So for instance, in terms of poverty, families invest in human capital and should be supported in this role. Families are enablers of social protection. Ensuring intergenerational solidarity and investing in families as the natural environment for children is therefore seen as the best social protection strategy. Well, moreover, older persons also express strong preference to stay in the families and receive care from the families. Regarding health and well-being, SDG 3, families ensure the health and well-being of their children, make sure their children get vaccinated and receive medical checkups. So this role is absolutely necessary. In terms of education, of course, parents are the first educators of children and give them a good start in this area. And a lot of research indicates that parental support is essential in children's success in schools. So in terms of policy supporting families in achieving SDG 3 and 4 relating to health and education, we have numerous examples of conditional cash transfers where cash benefits are given to families on condition that children get vaccinated and attend schools. They have been very successful, not only in progress towards SDG 3 and 4, but also SDG 1 and 2 relating to poverty and hunger reduction. However, it is important to note that very few countries implement programs to empower parents as collaborative agents in improving the quality of education. Some countries have programs that aim at developing parenting skills and engaging parents in school plans to enhance children's proficiency and competence. There are also a few programs that introduce the development of values and soft skills, promoting ethical standards based on civic culture and human rights. Now moving on to SDG 5, which deals with gender equality. Let me focus on overall caregiving responsibilities in the context of gender equality. So support for the caregiving function of the family through policies that foster work-family balance and parental leaves has had a significant impact on making sure that both men and women in the family have equal rights and responsibilities. When care is not fairly distributed and supported, unequal relations within the family persist, and care deficits are usually filled by women. So shared care within a household creates a family life where both parents are involved in raising children and better environment for shared decisions and making that benefits the family can be taken. So investments in policies promoting equal sharing of household responsibilities promotes the achievement of SDG 5, gender equality. Importantly, positive developments are on display here, and I'm happy to say that more and more countries support parental leave regulations, longer maternity leave and paternity leaves, investment in childcare provisions, and other measures to facilitate this work-family balance. Despite the importance of families in development and the need for support of families in this endeavor, family policy development has overall, unfortunately, not kept up with changing norms and expectations of rising difficulties families experience in fulfilling their numerous functions. Consequently, family policies too often continue to target children or women individually and often ignore the family as a unit. I would like to add here that concerning the rising challenges families face, we have recently analyzed megatrends and their impact on families. These megatrends include technological change, rapid urbanization, demographic change, especially rapid aging of societies, and climate change. And we have a lot of materials about our findings on our website, and I encourage you to consult those resources. I would like to say that the commitments by governments to family policies, design and implementation demonstrates their appreciation of the role of families in development. Meeting the needs of families and empowering them to fulfill their numerous functions are key to the achievement of many SDGs. And nevertheless, of this significance, the potential of families and family-oriented policies to achieve SDGs remain to be fully addressed in the overall socioeconomic policy making. Our work at DESA, Department of Economic and Social Affairs, aims to change this paradigm and demonstrate that centrality of families and family-oriented policies and programs for achieving SDGs and confronting developmental challenges. I would like to reiterate that families have a crucial role in the implementation of the 2030 agenda, but they need support. That is why family policies should aim to promote the well-being of families and their individual members by addressing their functions, including family formation, economic support, women's empowerment, child rearing and child development, and facilitating intergenerational care and support. I would like to conclude by quoting the last paragraph of the latest report of the Secretary General issued towards the end of last year. And the quote goes like this: as part of the preparations for and observance of the 30th anniversary of the International Year of the Family, the impact of megatrends on families was analyzed and numerous recommendations were offered on family-friendly and family-oriented policies aimed at protecting and empowering families in a rapidly changing world. The follow-up to the anniversary and beyond will involve advocating the implementation of such policies with full recognition of the role of families in sustainable development. I hope that this event, that I'm grateful for you to have organized, has contributed to these efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for your very good work working on to introduce this family lens in the 2030 agenda, because it's very important, as we have listened today from many speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants that have been following this site event live on internet, and probably they will watch later on YouTube, on our channel on YouTube, and see you in the next event organized by us for United Nations, because as other speakers said, we need to be there and we need to introduce this family lens in all areas of society, specifically in all the international organizations, and the most important is United Nations. Then thank you and goodbye.